Hello, you guys. Welcome to Talk About It Thursdays. I am your host, Karen Bailey. I'll give you guys a few minutes to hop on. Let me know when you're here. I will be glad to say hello to you. Hope you're having a beautiful Thursday. It's a little bit chilly down here in Tyler, but hey, at least we had some sunshine today, so I won't complain. And just let me know when you're on. And we'll just relax and we'll get our talk over with today so you can get back to your busy lives. Nothing like relaxing a little bit when you get off from work. Whatever you do to unwind, whether that's watching TV or listening to some music or going for a walk, take a few minutes to unwind before you leave work and come home and get busy all over again. You owe it to yourself to have a minute, to yourself to just say, Lord, I need a little bit of meditation time so I can recharge, so I can be my best self for my family. So make sure you're doing that. You're not a robot. You're not on autopilot. Remember, you have needs just like everybody else, and you need to pay attention to those things. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started because y'all know how I am about time. I am trying my best to be a timely sister, doing the best I can. Last week, we talked about the VIP is within me. So I hope you guys took some notes. I hope you guys are seeing yourself as very important people and conducting yourself that way. And make sure other people see you, that way too. But it's all about your attitude, how you carry yourself, how you keep your word. That's what makes you a VIP. It's not stuff. It's not status, because you can have all the money in the world and nobody respects you simply because you have a bad character. So don't get caught up in the material things. Just understand the VIP is within you. God has given us everything we need to walk, this world, this earth, in a status that's pleasing to Him, in a status that should be respected by other people. But it's up to you. It's up to you. And then now we're in our second week of 2023. How are you guys handling 2023? A lot of times we make these New Year's resolutions at the end of the year. Are you keeping any of those promises to yourself? Are you trying new things? Are you trying to do things differently than you did them in 2022? Ask yourself, is this going to be another year just like last year? Or are you determined to make this a better year? It's all up to you. Nobody can do it for you. So you've got to make up your mind you want better, and then you've got to put in the work. So let's go ahead and get started, you guys. Our topic today is handle it. Basically, just handle it. Being a VIP, being a very important person, being someone that's respected by others, that's held in high self-esteem and high esteem. When you're a VIP, you understand things are going to happen, good and bad. But come what may, whether you have support or not, you got to handle your business. And that's what we want to talk about today. We don't have excuses for not handling our business. There's time out for all the excuses that people make. You can do what you want to get done. Everything else you make excuses for. So let's stop making excuses and let's be people of our word. Let's get things done. Let's make a difference in 2023, you guys. And we must learn how to handle our homes, our families, our careers, and most of all, you got to learn how to handle yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, and I've said this 1,000 times, but you know what? I'll say it 1,000 times more. A lot of times we try to take care of everybody else, but then when you neglect you, You are your own star player. You are the one that needs to be strengthened. You are the one that needs to be taken care of the most. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't help anybody else. You can't be there for anybody else. You can't support anybody else. You can't, be a shoulder to cry on for anybody else if you're broken down. So you've got to first take care of you so that you can help take care of everybody else. Okay? And we must stay on top of things that are trying to get on top of us. Let's stop letting things get out of hand. Let's stop ignoring things until it gets big. The best thing you can do is nip things in the bud, whether it's, somebody disrespecting you or your children getting out of line or you and your spouse, y'all not getting along. Nip those things in the bud before they become a big thing that requires a lot more work. It's easier to handle those little small fires. You can put out those little small fires, but don't let it end up in a major blaze where there's collateral damage, where there's not a chance, that you might be able to come back from that. Don't do that. I put a post in that this week and I said, some things you can't walk back. And you got to understand, when you hurt people, sometimes you can't walk that back. Once you've done it, you've done it. Once they're gone out of your life, once they lose that respect for you, once they realize you're not a person of integrity, you can't take that back. So be careful about what you do. VIPs understand that they must make their yes be their yes and their no be their no. And you have to be careful about what comes out of this mouth. It's not okay to just say whatever you want to say and expect everybody to accept that. No, when you hurt people and when you damage people, some of those things last in people's lives for years and years and years. You can't take those things back. So why not be more careful about what you do? Why not be more careful about what you say? We all can do that. Hold yourself accountable. Remind yourself that you don't have to say everything that comes in your thought processes. Some things are just for you. It's not for everybody else to hear. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. And we must handle our business as leaders. We're all leaders in some kind of way. You may not have a big fancy title. You may not have a big office. You may not have a bunch of letters behind your name, but you're a leader. Somebody is looking at you. Somebody is learning from you. Somebody is following you, whether you know it or not. So understand, you got to handle your business. Don't be out here just doing things any and every kind of way. Don't be out here lying and making up stuff and saying you're going to do something and don't do it. Don't do that, because you're teaching somebody else, whether you know it or not. Somebody's always watching. So be careful about that. You're a leader and you should take pride in that. You should take pride in knowing that somebody looks up to you. Hey, Lindsay. And that should make you more careful about how you walk and about how you talk and about the things that you do with your life. So please understand that you're a leader and act accordingly. You got to handle your business. Okay? And we have to be careful about the things that we even watch sometimes. Sometimes we get so caught up and things that come on TV, you guys, and before you know, you start taking on personalities of certain characters. Be careful about that. Make sure you're being true to yourself. Make sure you can separate the two and understand that what you're watching on TV, that's for your entertainment. It is not for you to apply those things to your lives. And I've seen people go from one way to try to mimic something they've seen on TV, and that's just not you. And just understand, it's not going to turn out the way it is on television, because it's scripted on television. You don't have a script out here. So be careful about what you allow to influence you, because you'll mess up a good thing. You'll mess up your household trying to talk like some women that you've seen on TV, being disrespectful, walking around talking about what a boss you are. Be careful about the words you say. Make sure your significant other feels important. Make sure your significant other knows that you need him or you need her. Be careful about following the examples of what you see on TV. And understand that fear kills more dreams than failure. People that try things, people that aren't afraid to fail, those people are the true winners out here. Those are the people that handle their business. It's okay if they don't be successful, or if they're not successful at something, the fact is that they didn't let fear overcome their lives. They decided, you know what, I'm going to step out here and I'm going to see what it do. And if I can't do it, so be it. At least I tried. I wasn't afraid to try. And true people that aren't afraid to fail, they tend to live out their dreams because they understand failure's part of the process sometimes. You know, everything you don't get right away, everything you don't get on the first try, everything you don't get in the first decade sometimes. But you cannot be afraid. You have to step out there. If you dream it, try to achieve it. And if you need to regroup and ask God to guide you in another direction, don't consider that a failure. Just understand you needed to take a different path. But don't allow fear to consume your life. And then let's talk about how we're handling some vital areas of our lives. You know, we've got to handle some things better in 2023 than we did in 2022, you guys. I know I am really working on several things in my life, and I'm already seeing some differences, and I'm thanking God for it because I had to make up my mind. And nothing happens until you make up your mind, you guys. People can tell you you need to change this, change that. But until you see it, a lot of times until it starts hurting you, you won't even try to change. But once you start feeling the pain of it, then you're like, okay, I need to do something different. And sometimes I'm that person that I have to feel a little something, or I have to see that what I'm doing is hurting me to make me turn around and do something different. And I know I'm not the only person that's like that sometimes. So let's talk about the areas that we need to handle that are very important in our lives. First of all, the area you need to handle is your time. What are you doing with your time? Are you wasting time like you did last year? Are you being deliberate about what you do now? Are you being deliberate about where you go? Are you being deliberate, of why you do what you do? Or are you just still doing the same stuff you were doing last year, expecting different results? One thing I'm learning is I'm not going to get anything different than I got last year if I don't do something different this year. And that's scary. It scares me because when I'm in my comfort zone, stepping out of that, it's scary because I don't know what's going to happen. But I have to believe God enough to know that if I have a desire for more, He's going to pave the way for me. I just have to stop being afraid of my own shadow and get out there and do what I got to do. So make sure that you're handling your time and learn to enjoy your own company. And that's something that, being divorced now 12 years, I've learned how to love my own company. It took me a while, but I love spending time by myself. I love doing a lot of the things that I like to do. I love discovering things that I can do that I didn't realize I could do. I love to learn, and I find that I learn things easier than I expected. Things don't intimidate me as much as they used to now that I've had some time by myself. So I encourage you, singles, enjoy this time by yourself. I'm not saying don't desire to be with someone, but until God sends that person, learn to love you, learn to enjoy you, okay? And then the next thing under our time is respect other people's time. Don't be a time waster, you guys. A lot of people are time wasters. They're talking about the same stuff all the time. Nothing changes but the day, but they're still talking about that old stuff, just holding up time. And I'm bad about letting people waste my time, but I said, God, help me be better in 2023, because I try to be so nice. I try to listen and be a support, and people will play on that. They will waste your time and never intending to change. I'm going to demand some things from people now. If you want my time, I want to see some changes. You know what I'm saying? If I've got to listen to this same stuff over and over again, I'm going to start asking them, okay, what's your plan? What's your plan? Okay, I'm going to check back with you in a couple of weeks and see how far you're getting on your plan. So I want it to mean something. I love enjoying, friends and family, this, that, and the other. But if you're going to bring me your problems, then you're going to have to show me your plan. And you're going to have to let me see and you want to change, or I'm going to have to stop being a ear for everything and allowing you to dump everything on me. So that's one of the things I'm working on this year. It's holding people accountable and stop letting people just dump any and everything on me, because my time is precious. And we have to remember not to do that to other people as well. Don't waste people's time. Time really is precious, and it's important what you do with your time. It's so much you can get done in a 24-hour period. So don't allow people to waste your time with nonsense, and don't you waste anybody else's time with nonsense. Okay? And see, don't waste time on something or someone that's not productive, or destroys your peace. If your phone rings and you see that caller ID and it automatically disturbs your peace, distance yourself. You don't always have to answer their calls. You don't always have to answer their text messages. If it instantly disturbs your peace, then there's something about that person that is not fitting with who you are. You should be excited to hear from people. You should be excited, to run into people. But if these people vex your spirit like that, and every time you see them or hear them, all they have is negative stuff to say and whining and complaining, learn to distance yourself. That's not mean. That's not heartless. But you've got to learn to preserve your peace, because that's very important, because you need that in order to be productive and be able to help anybody else. And then D, limit your time around people who drain you of your energy. People that keep going around the same mulberry bush all the time. Keep doing the same stuff, getting the same results, crying on your shoulder, but they keep doing the same stuff. They never learn from their mistakes, but they always want you to be there when they fall. Limit your time around those people, because at some point you have to get some wisdom. Some point you have to get tired of yourself. And people that never get tired of themselves, they will drain somebody else, pulling them into their drama. Stop letting people do that. Your time is too precious. And then E, choose to be positive and happy whenever possible. Just like we can always find 10, 20 things wrong, we can find 100 things that God did right. We can find 100 things to be thankful for. So remind yourself of those things that are good, that are lovely, that are of good report. When you start finding yourself going into that dark place, that negative place, get around people that are happy. Get around some children that are carefree, that are playing and having a good time. Anything that lifts your spirit. Turn on some good gospel music. Turn on, a good comedy show. Something that'll lift your spirit up. You have to nip that thing in the bud. Don't let yourself get deep down into depression. It's hard to pull yourself out of that. When you see those signs and you know them, work on it then. Like I said before, nip things in the bud. Get them while the little fires are small. Don't wait until it's ablaze, okay? And then number 2, the other thing we need to handle and learn to handle better is our energy. A lot of times, you're the one that's always having to reach out to people. You're the one that's always having to call people. You're the one that's always doing the nice things for everybody. Reserve some of your energy for you. If people can't respond properly, if people can't be grateful, if people want to take you for granted, limit your time around them. They're stealing all of your energy. Use some of that energy for people that appreciate you. Use that energy for people that get excited when you come into a room. I'm not wasting any more time on people with negative energy. People, that smile in your face and talk behind your back. You got to recognize those things. Ask God to show you even the people in your circle so you can see how to deal with them. Because sometimes those daggers are just that close to you, and you've got to be careful, you guys, because a lot of times, like I said before, people don't like to see you moving forward and going to another level, and sometimes they will do what they can to try to pull you back down to where they are. Okay? And be careful of spending your energy around people that talk a good game, but never follow through. Stop wasting your energy getting excited about stuff that they talk about. They always have these great ideas and get you all worked up, and then it always fizzles out. Stop giving all your energy to that. Make people show you, that they mean what they're saying. Don't just believe everything people says. Don't believe people that want the spotlight. Sometimes people just want the spotlight. They sound good, but they never follow through. Don't give your energy to that. Make people show you who they are. Okay? And then avoid negative people and environments as much as you can. You know, some places you don't have to go. Some, like I said, calls you don't have to answer. Some things you don't have to go to just because you were invited. So don't feel obligated to be in a negative environment. And then perfect what you do good and learn what you don't. You know, sometimes we give up just because we're not as good as something we think we are. Why don't you practice it? Why don't you watch some videos? Why don't you get around somebody that's good at it and let them teach you some shortcuts? Don't get down on yourself because you're not good at something. Perfect what you are good at and learn what you're not. You know, that's all about growing. That's all about learning. Okay? And then always open your mind to learning and being led. You know, that's one thing that you never get too old to learn. And you need to never get too old to be led by somebody else. You need to never get too old to be a student, because you can't know everything in this lifetime. I don't care if you live to be 104. Somebody can always teach you something. These young people can teach us some things. Babies teach us things just from the things they say and how they conduct themselves. Sometimes God will show you something through a child that will blow your mind. So always be open to learn and be led. Don't ever get so high up to where you think you know so much or that nobody can tell you anything, because you're headed for disaster. And E, plan and focus on what could go right instead of worrying so much about what can go wrong. You know, when you put your mind on the possibilities, you get enthusiastic about what could go right. 9 times out of 10, it'll go that direction. But if you're always contradicting yourself, when you get excited about something, then the next minute you got a thought of what could go wrong. You know, you got to stop doing that to yourself. That's called having a double mind. And the Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You know, and that's one thing I pray for everybody on this page, that we'll get some stability in our lives, that we'll make up our mind about some things, you know, and I'm speaking over my own life too. I ask God to help me make up my mind about some things this year and not be wishy-washy, not be swayed by other people, not worry about who's there for me, who's supporting me, who's mad about this, I don't have time to worry about that anymore. I have to make up my mind about some things and I have to move forward. And that's my plan for this year. So I pray that for everyone, that you'll get stable in your mind and you'll have the confidence to do the things that you want to do in life and the things that you're purposed to do in life. Okay? And then another thing we need to learn how to handle in 2023 is our money. Ask yourself, are you doing better than you did last year? Now, we're just 2 weeks into 2023, but how you start sometimes is how you finish. Are you doing better about, you know, your spending? Are you doing better about making wiser decisions when it comes to your money? Are you doing better about not being caught up in material things? You know, that's a mindset. You know, sometimes people get caught up, you know, first of the year, people buying new cars and everybody's bragging and showing off this, that, and the other. Don't you get caught up in that. Don't you get caught up with these car lots having all these sales and stuff. There's always a catch to it, you know. So make sure that you're doing a better job than you did last year when it comes to handling your money. Learn how to bargain shop. There's nothing wrong with bargain shopping. That just means you're getting the same thing for a lesser price. You know what you want and then do some research. Find the best price instead of just buying what you see right in front of you. That'll save you some money in the long run, okay? So also make sure that you're prepared for those surprises that come up. Make sure you do better than you did last year, because things are going to happen. Things are going to break. You know, anything man-made is not meant to last anyway. So you got to be prepared for that. Stop getting caught off guard about every little thing. Do better about handling your money this year. Take some classes on money. You know, there's a bunch of money market classes out there. If you want to learn how to invest, invest in yourself and learn those things that you want to do. They'll teach you how to grow your money, this, that, and the other. If you don't know anything about retirement, all this other stuff, get the education. You have the mind to learn. Everything's out there at your fingertip on the internet. So don't limit yourself this year. Learn how to handle your money and handle it better than you did last year. Number 4, the next thing we need to learn how to handle is our responses. Our responses and what we react to. Last year, if everybody upset you last year and you all on social media arguing with people because of comments that they put on your post, this, that, and the other, stop doing that. First of all, stop making yourself so visible. One thing I can't stand is somebody that'll put their business out on social media and then they want to get mad when people post their thoughts about it. You put it out there, so you open the floodgate. You can't get mad. Whatever they got to say, you can't get mad because you put your stuff out there. And anybody that knows me, I'm a very private person. You won't hardly find out anything about me unless I want you to know it. But whatever I post, I know that I've given the free world access to it. So whatever they say, I can't even get mad about it because I put it out there. So we have to decide what we're going to react to and what we're going to respond to. Sometimes, like I said last week, everything doesn't deserve a response. Quit overreacting to comments. Quit overreacting, to what somebody thinks about you. Why does it matter if they don't like you? Why does it matter, if they think that you're stuck up or if they think this and that about you? Why does it even matter? Stop responding. All that matters is how you feel about yourself, how you love your family, and how you love God. And God loves you just like you are, mess or not. God loves you, and that should be enough. That should be enough. So stop responding to everything. Okay? And stop responding to everybody. Here lately, and I don't know what's happening, I can feel some changes happen in my life, and I feel God is moving in my life, and some things are moving on to the better, to the things that I've been praying for. And wouldn't you know, a bunch of them boogers that either they used to like me and I found out I didn't need to fool with them, or somebody I've dated, this, that, and the other, now all of a sudden everybody's in my DM. Everybody wants to know if I'm still single. Everybody want to know this and that. How you doing, this, that, and the other. Some of those things I'm not even responding to because I'm not going backwards. What God has for me is not behind me, it's in front of me. So I know that when God is moving you forward to your best place, to what he has for you, the devil's going to pull out every stop, because he's pulled out the ones that I like because of this and I like because of that. They still look like this. They still talk like that. But you know what? I've outgrown that. So you can't come at me with the same old things. So we got to learn what to respond to. Some things we've got to ignore, and sometimes you have to leave people in the past because sometimes they realize that they messed up a good thing. But like I said earlier, once it's gone, it's gone. And you have to make up your mind to let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't go back to something that you had to pray your way out of. And that's what I have to remind myself all the time. I'm not going back to boogers that I had to pray to get away from, that I had to pray to get my self-esteem back up, that I had to pray, even for my own safety. So, learn what to respond to and learn to ignore some things in your life. I don't care how good they look. If they weren't good for you, ignore them. Okay? And move on. What God has for you is in front of you. Okay? And learn to pick your battles. Even with your family, even with your spouse. Pick your battles. Everything is not worth arguing over. Everything is not worth you being able to say that you're right. Sometimes you have to just be quiet and let God deal with people. Pick your battles and make sure it's worth it before you go in there and get yourself all worked up and all upset. And make sure that you count up the cost too of what you're doing and what you're saying, because sometimes battles have collateral damage, which is our children, or residual effects of things that you've said that person will never forget. They can't really hardly forgive, so make sure it's worth it when you go all in like that. And most of the time it's really not. So you just really need to pick your battles and be smart about what you want to wage war against, because a lot of times it's not even worth it. Most things will settle, over time anyway. So pick your battles, okay? And then D, remember that you're not always right. Learn to listen to someone else's point of view. Stop being so hard-headed and thinking that you have all the answers, because you don't. And learn to listen to other people and get their point of view before you stand and declare that you're right about everything, because nobody's right all the time. So make sure that you're getting other people's point of view so that you can understand where they're coming from. Okay? And then E, learn to compromise when it's appropriate. When it comes to our children, sometimes, they do things that are wrong, but sometimes we're so ready to fire off on them that we don't take the time to sit down and try to find out how they got to where they were, how they got to that decision to do what they did. And that's going to require you to compromise. That's going to require you to be quiet when you're ready to yell and scream and get on their behinds. Sometimes you have to be quiet, sit back and listen and try to understand what's going on within that child, what's going on in their environment. And a lot of times you can find out where the source is coming from, what got them in that situation in the first place. But you've got to do something different than what you've been doing, because we've got to learn how to communicate with these kids. We've got to learn how to communicate with our spouses and our boyfriends or girlfriends. All that yelling and confusion never gets anybody anywhere. So let's learn to do better when it comes to our communication in 2023, you guys. Number 5, another thing we need to learn to handle is our emotions. Stop getting mad about any and everything. Get stable. Like I said before, I pray for stability for all of us. But get stable in your emotions so that every time somebody says something to you, you don't take it to heart. You're crying all the time. Your feelings are getting hurt all the time. Get some stability about yourself. That's why it's so important to have some time to yourself, for you to learn who you are and know who you are. When you know who you are, little jabs and things and comments that people make, they don't affect you the same way when you know who you are. It's only when you're counting on people to affirm you, you're counting on other people to make you feel important, that's when everything hurts your feelings. That's when you're always getting the wrong understanding. You have to get your mind right about who you are. And a lot of things you'll be able to just let roll off, or just ignore, or just walk away from. But we've got to get some stability in our emotions so you're not always on a roller coaster, not always going through stages of depression, anxiety, sadness, not sleeping, gaining weight, health problems, this, that, and the other. Get some control over your emotions and decide what things you want to deal with and what things you don't. If it's hurting you, cut it off. I don't care how much you love it. I don't care how much you love that person. If it's hurting you, it's not good for you. It's not healthy for you. But you have to be the person that does that. Nobody can do that for you. But we've got to get some control over our emotions. And then do your homework before you get your heart involved in some things. I don't care if it's another person. I don't care if it's a project. I don't care if it's a church. I don't care if it's a school. I don't care if it's a job. Do some homework, on it. Find out a little bit about it before you get so excited and jump in with both feet. It's okay to be prepared for where you're going, but it's different when you jump into something and then you go, oh, it's not what I thought it was, and then you get all upset about it and get sad about it. Do your homework, do your due diligence, and check people out. Check out those jobs, check out those churches, and just make sure that it's a good fit for you, okay? And then lastly, on emotions, understand that it's not always about you. You have to see the big picture sometimes. Sometimes those people that are mean and nasty to you, you have to ask God to show you people, because sometimes those people have been hurt. Sometimes those people have trust issues. Sometimes those people, have been abused. You don't know what's going on behind somebody else's. So before you get your feelings hurt, about how they talk to you, or how they looked at you, this, that, and the other. Make sure that you're just not self-absorbed and you're not being overly sensitive about things. And then when you find that, there's something going on with somebody, that's not for you to go and tell somebody else. That's for you to pray about it. So learn to pray for people. Sometimes just a kind word, to somebody that's even been mean to you or even been rude to you. Sometimes a kind word will calm them down and make them think about how they dealt with you. But learn to get stable in your emotions so that you can have a better year this year. Number 6, how are you handling your steps? The Bible says the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. So how are you handling your steps? Are you frustrated because you're not further along in life? Are you frustrated because people don't believe in you and they're not supporting you? You don't have the money that you want to have, this, that, and the other. How are you handling your steps? In 2023, I want to see us be grateful for where we are. I want to see us focused on where we're trying to go, but at the same time, be grateful for where you are. Be thankful, that God allowed you to get this far. Because a lot of us, I know I can speak for myself. I didn't have support at all, in most things in my life. I didn't have an upbringing that pushed you to greatness. I had a lot of things that happened in my childhood, young adult life that should have had me on Skid Row, just from all the things that we went through and things that went on in our house, things that happened to me at a young age as a young adult. My life should be totally different. If the devil had his say, my life should be totally different than it is now. So I thank God every day, knowing what I came from, knowing what I came through. And for me to be at the point where I am today, I know that was nothing but the grace of God. So while you're on the step that you're on, learn to be grateful. Learn to be grateful. Because when you're grateful, God knows He can trust you and move you to the next thing. So stop fighting God on the step that you're on, wanting to rush and get ahead of God. Understand that God's timing is always perfect. And I'm learning that in life. I had a guy say something to me a long time ago, and it was probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He was interested in me, and I really wasn't. And we had went out for drinks, and we were sitting at the bar, and we were talking, and he was like, well, what you gonna do, Karen? We're not getting no younger, blah, 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 blah. You gonna get married, blah, blah. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's trying to guilt me into thinking that I'm getting old, so I should be in a relationship and possibly marry him. You have to be careful about people trying to play on things that they think that you're sensitive about. That's why you got to know who you are. Know who's not for you. And I knew he was not for me. So don't allow other people to make you uncomfortable or make you unsatisfied with where God has you right now. Because people got opinions all over this world. I know people that are retired that try to make me feel like working, it's like, oh man, like that's the worst thing in the world. But to me, that's the greatest thing in the world, because I know that I have the ability. I know that God has kept my mind. He's kept my body. He's given me the strength to go to work, and He gave me the strength to still be walking in my purpose while I'm working. And he's allowed me to still have a passion for what I do. So don't allow other people, just because they're on a different step than you, to try to make you feel bad about the step you're on. Stay where God has you and elevate in God's time. But make sure that you're grateful every step of the way. And make sure you're listening to God every step of the way. Don't listen to people, because they got an answer for everything. They'll holler about how they're retired and can't hardly pay for anything. So, don't believe the hype in a lot of things. Just like sometimes married people want single people to feel like, they're less than. No, it's a lot of married people that are absolutely miserable. So don't believe the hype. Enjoy where you are. Thank God for where you are and ask God to show you how to get to your next step. But make sure that you understand that it's God that elevates, not man. Man can't elevate. Man can't give you nothing. God giveth, and man can't take it away. And then ask yourself, How are you handling these three tricks of the enemy? The enemy has three tricks in his bag. The first one is the lust of the flesh. The second is the lust of the eye. And the third is the pride of life. How are you handling lust of the flesh? You know, for us singles, sometimes we have to battle some things because we get lonely. Sometimes we have to learn to not answer that phone. Learn to not receive attention from people that, don't mean us any good. So sometimes we have to fight our flesh daily. And the Bible talks about we do fight our flesh daily. You don't just wake up having it together. It's a daily walk. So continue to fight and try to not get caught up, in the material things, not get caught up in things of the flesh, not get caught up in wanting things just because everybody else has them or just to show off, to other people. And then the lust of the eye. We have to understand that everything that looks good is not good for you. I'm a witness to that because I've lusted after some good looking stuff and none of it was good for me. Not one was good for me. And God had to show me that. He had to let me bump my head a few times. And I bumped my head, and I understand now it's not about what you see, but it's about what you can't see with the eye. That's important. So you have to learn how to check a person's spirit, check their character, and look past all that pretty on the outside. Because there's plenty of beautiful women on the outside, beautiful men on the outside, and they rotten on the inside. So you have to be careful about that lust of the eye, wanting things because other people want it, wanting things that other people have, being jealous of other people. All of that falls up under lust of the eye. And just wanting something because you want to outshine somebody else. All of that. And then the third thing is the pride of life. It's when you start thinking that you're bigger than God. You start thinking everything is about you. You start thinking, that I got this all the time. It's fine that we say I got this, but when we say it, we know I got this because God got me. And there's a two-part to that. Those that just walk around talking about I got this, like they're doing it in their own strength, you better watch yourself because there's a pothole waiting for you. But when we say we got this, it's because we know who got us. And that's a big difference. So be careful about the pride of life. Be careful about looking down on other people because they're not where you're at. Be careful. Be careful about the things that you say about other people because, honey, before you know it, be careful about talking about other folks' kids. My God, I've seen people do that and their kids turn right around. I've seen people talk about people's relationship and I turn around. Next thing you know, it was them. So I've learned to be careful and keep my mouth off a lot of things. You don't judge nobody but yourself. Keep your mouth off of it. If you see something wrong, pray about it. But don't get so puffed up in yourself till you think that you've made it. Because none of us have. We're all filthy rags. We all mess up daily. Whether it's something we said or didn't say it or did or didn't do. Nobody's perfect. So don't get puffed up. Don't let the enemy puff you up just because you're good at something to make you think that you're all that. Because, baby, trust me, we ain't nothing without God. And you have to recognize that and understand that and give God His props and give God His glory for every step along the way because the glory belongs to Him. That's why He gives you the abilities that you have. That's why you can sing like you do. That's why you can teach like you do. That's why you have that athletic ability, those gifts that you have. If God took those away from you, you would be nothing. So understand and recognize who gave those things to you. Number 7. Let's learn how to handle our popularity and our ego. Learn to stay humble, you guys. Be careful about social media, about getting popular on social media, about getting all these friends and all these likes, this, that, and the other, because people will follow you today and drop you tomorrow, and then your feelings will be down in your little stomach because you put yourself up on a pedestal where you didn't belong. Understand, don't crave after popularity. If you become popular, if you gain favor with men, that's beautiful. But don't make that your aim to be popular with everybody. Because a lot of times popularity comes with a price. And a lot of compromise comes with that. And be careful about your ego. Just because God blesses you to have favor amongst, a lot of people, don't let that go to your head. Understand that you need to stay humble. Understand that you pray for favor, and when God gives you favor, thank God for the favor. It has nothing to do with you because you didn't create you. So just understand that we need to keep our egos in check. Don't ever get to where you think you're better than other people and that you're too good to do this. Hey Sandra, you're too good to do this. You're too good to do that. Check yourself, because I promise you at some point God will bring you down low, and you don't want that. So keep yourself in check. Understand you're not too good for anything. You're good enough for everything, but you're not too good for anything. So don't get that twisted. You're good enough for everything, but you're not too good for anything. And that'll keep your ego in check. Don't worry about how many people like you. People are fickle. Stop worrying about that. That's why you got to learn to love yourself, and you got to understand who God says you are, because you won't need all of that. You won't need all of that. You'll be comfortable and you'll be happy with who you are. Ask God to show you, the you that He sees, not the you that you pick apart. No, the you that God sees. And then learn to love what God sees. Quit worrying about how you look on the outside. Who doesn't have this? Your hair is not like this. Your body's not like this. Work on your body to get healthy, not to look like anybody else. Because God didn't make you to be like anybody else. And then we'll move on. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. A lot of times God moves things away from you, people away from you. Don't take that personally. God is working some things out for your good. Allow people to move in and out of your life like they need to. Don't take it personal. God is up to something. Don't take it personal. And then sometimes you shine so brightly that other people are intimidated by it too. So don't take that personally. You shine. You do what God says you do. You smile. You project. You do what you got to do to be you, the best you. Don't worry about who doesn't like it. Don't worry about who can't handle it. Your job is to be the best version of you can be. And that's going to intimidate some people. That's going to make some people jealous. That's going to scare some people away. But that's okay, because you only have to answer to you and God. So make sure you're being the best you. Don't sugarcoat nothing. Don't dumb it down for anybody else. Be the best version of yourself. And don't do it for likes. Don't do it for popularity. Do it for you. Do it for you. And then number 8, the next thing we need to learn how to handle is our circles. Our circles at work. Stop hanging around the gossipers. Stop hanging around the negative people at work. Stop hanging around the people that always seem like they're sneaking and up to something and always trying to get away with not working. Stop hanging around those people, because you know what? That kind of stuff is infectious. All of it is. The gossiping, negativity, the laziness, all of that. It's infectious, and you hang around it long enough, it's going to get on you. So if you don't want that to be part of who you are, change your circle. Same thing with your friends, same thing. Change. If they're not representing what you're trying to be and where you're trying to go, change your circle. Get with some people that inspire you. Get with some people that push you to be better than who you were last year. Get with some people that are doing some things you're not familiar with, that can teach you some things. And I ask God all the time, put people in my life that can take me to a level that I never dreamed of. And that's what I want in my life. That's the circle I want. I want people that can show me what I can be, and they believe in me, and they'll do what they can, hey Kinsley, to push me in that direction. That's when you know you got a good circle. When they're constantly pushing you and encouraging you to be better, that's your circle. That's your tribe. God is always trying to get you to that next level. He's always trying to get greater out of you. And sometimes you got to put different people around you that are doing things and moving in a way that you never understood. And they can teach you how to move differently, and put yourself out there this year. Quit hanging around the same people doing the same thing all the time, getting the same results. Because guess what? At the end of 2023, you're going to be saying the same thing you said at 2022. Let's have a different conversation at the end of December. I want to hear people saying, my God, 2023 did something to me. Did something great for me. I can't wait to go in 2024 because I'm on fire. I'm ready to go. Because I know there's even more in me than there was last year. That's the conversation. Not that same stuff we keep talking about every year, making them same resolutions and not making the changes. So let's move forward this year. And sometimes you got to change your circle. Quit being around people that only want to be around you when they need something from you or they can benefit from you. If they can't just call and say, hello, how you doing, love you, blah, 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 without asking you for something, distance yourself because you're a tool to them. You're a tool, because truly people that really love you and really care for you, they just going to check on you. They just want to know you good. They just want to know if you need anything. That's the circle you need. They want to know how can they help you. That's the circle that you need. And then the next thing we need to get a handle on is our health. I am a testimony about my health. Last year, I procrastinated on some things last year. This year, I got to get it. Because some things that I let slide last year, I refuse to let slide this year. I got to get some stuff right this year. The Bible talks about warning comes before destruction. Well, I got some warnings last year that I didn't heed to. Oh, yeah, they got my attention now. Oh, yeah, I'm doing a whole lot different. Oh, yeah, I'm eating different. I'm exercising. I'm thinking different. I'm separating myself from drama. I'm separating myself from stress. I got to get my health back to where I know it's supposed to be because God promised us abundant life and he came for that. And that means that we have to do our part to take care of our health, our mental, our spiritual, and especially our physical health. And because I let some things slide, I got work to do. 2023 is some work for me. I've already started this first 2 weeks, baby, I done put in some work when it comes to my health. And I corresponded with my physician today and I told her what I'm doing and I showed her the results. And it felt so good for her to say, congratulations, that you're meeting your goal at this, you're meeting your goal at that. But I didn't have the mindset last year to get serious about some things. But that's what prayer is all about, you guys. God will change your mind about some things. And sometimes you have to get a little bit of fear in you to make you change. And there was some wording they were using. And I didn't like that wording, and I didn't want that wording connected to who I am and to who God says I am, because God says I'm not that. So that means I got to do the work. So I'm doing the work. And I encourage you guys, I know it's not easy. Sometimes we just let things go, but we have to make up our mind that that's not acceptable. We make excuse after excuse, and I'm world's worst. I was making all kinds of excuses. Oh, work was just stressful. This, that, and the other. This is why this is like this, because I'm so tired, blah, blah, blah. You know what? When I started doing the work, I'm not as tired as I was. When I started doing the work, a lot of them excuses had to go away. And so now it's a matter of me staying focused, staying on task, being a woman of my word, and seeing the results, and then wanting to keep pushing till I meet my goal. And I encourage each and every one of you, set some goals for your health this year. Set your goals, small, attainable goals. Because when you set them too big, sometimes you get disappointed when you don't get there fast enough. Set small, attainable goals and meet that goal, and then move on to the next one. And then congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. It did everything for me today to get that message from my doctor, her saying, congratulations, I'm proud of you. When doctors hear that, and I'm speaking as a nursing professional, that when we hear that y'all are doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're getting results, it does something for us, because it makes us understand that we have a bigger purpose than just working for the money. Our purpose is to make your life better. but we can't do it without your cooperation. And thank God I missed my old doctor, but I had to transfer to a new doctor. This new doctor, she wasn't hearing them excuses that I was making with my old doctor. She was like, oh, okay, Karen, okay, well, I'm sending in this, and then I'm referring you for this, and this. She was listening, but she still was going to do what she needed to do. And I need somebody like that, that's tough on me, that's not, they'll listen to my excuses, but they won't allow my excuses to affect what they do that they know is good for me or that they prescribe for me. So I encourage you, if you don't have a good doctor, get you a good doctor that's not going to let you make excuses. Get you a good doctor that will get on to you. You know, one of the first things she did was she patted my belly. She said, oh, this got to go. I didn't get offended. I couldn't do nothing but smile. I said, okay, God, you sent me to the right one. Because she's not afraid to tell me, you got too much middle. And I needed to hear that. I already knew it, but she wasn't saying it to be ugly. She was saying, okay, we need to flatten this, because she knows that in the middle, excess weight around your middle causes a ton of health problems. So I already knew why she was saying it, but I just appreciate she tapped my belly just like it wasn't nothing. I said, okay then, Lord. And I knew that was God saying, I got the right one for you now. I bet you won't make no excuses with her. And I thank God for that every day. And I have been putting in some work. Nothing happens overnight, you guys. I'm seeing little changes, but you know, the little changes let me know that I do have some control over my health. I do have a say as to whether I get better or not. I do have a say whether, you know, I keep letting things progress to get worse. You know, you have a say in some things. So you have to understand, you know, God is going to look out for you, but you are going to have to do your part. And that's with your mental health. Stop being ashamed to let somebody know you're depressed. Stop being ashamed to let somebody know you have anxiety. Get with a counselor, a good counselor. They've got it now. Even you guys can do counseling, online video chat. You don't even have to go in the office, you know, around people if you're embarrassed, you know, but get the help that you need so that your life will be better in 2023. Don't just sit around and let things go on for years and years and years, you know, when there's help out there and there's available. So stop being ashamed, get connected with your doctor, you know, keep your appointments, do what the doctors are telling you to do, and sit down and have a conversation if you're struggling, okay? Because your health is too important. Your health is truly your wealth, you guys. It ain't about money, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're unhealthy and can't enjoy it, what's the point? So you want to be to where you can enjoy your life and enjoy whatever blessings God has for you. And then you have to believe that you can make the changes, because your health is broken down into 4 parts. What you believe, what you say, what you receive, and what you do about it. Those are the 4 parts of managing your health and getting a handle on your health. What you believe. What do you believe in? Do you believe you can make the necessary changes? Do you believe you can make a difference if you stop some of those bad habits? You have to believe that. You can't be sitting around saying, well, I've been doing it all these years. I ain't worried about it. You know, blah, 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 blah. You got to make up your mind to believe you can get better. And when you believe it, you can start seeing things different. When you believe it, you can get your willpower where it needs to be. You can walk away and say no to some things that are unhealthy for you. And then what are you saying about your health? You will have what you say. So you better make sure what you're saying about your health is what you want to see come to pass. Because a lot of times if you're not doing the work and doing a bunch of complaining, guess what? You haven't done your part. So make sure that you're saying what you want to see happen in your health, and that's your mental health, spiritual health, and your physical health. You know, make sure that what you're saying is true, and make sure that you put in the work, and make sure you're saying what you want to see happen as far as your health. It was some things that my doctor sat down and talked with me about. I said, oh, next time I come, this is going to be different. I started telling her what's going to be different. She said, oh, okay. I said, okay, I heard what you said. I don't like that. So next time I come, this is going to be better. It may not be where it's supposed to be, but this is going to be better. I promise you it's going to be better, because I believe in myself. And you've got to believe in yourself. And I started saying those things. Karen, you will be healthy. Karen, you will not have this. Karen, you will not have that. Karen, you will not have to take this or that. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to be willing to put forth the work, because God is not going to do everything for you. But I believe in a God. I believe in a God that heals, and I believe in a God that can do anything but fail. So everything that's not going right, I believe God to fix it. And I'm going to do my part to make sure that it happens. And then the third thing is, what are you receiving? Are you receiving the warnings? Like I said before, warning comes before destruction. Like I say, my doctor, she sat down and talked to me about red flags. There's things that were lit up, and I need to do something about them before they get worse. Are you receiving the warnings and heeding them and doing what you need to do? Or are you making excuses? Only you know the answer to that. But it's your health. And I'm telling you, you only get one life. So it's up to you how you live it. So you might want to take your health seriously. You might want to take those warnings seriously. If you've got those bad habits, smoking, all this, that, and the other, heed the warnings. It's even on the package. And it tells you what can happen to you. Heed the warnings. Don't be a cautionary tale because you decided that you don't think it's going to happen to you, or you've been doing this or that so long you can't stop. You can stop anything you want to stop. You can stop. And then 4, what are you doing about it? Like I said before, make small changes and be consistent. The main thing is being consistent. And the main thing is looking at yourself every day, reminding yourself who you're doing it for. You're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it for you because you want to be able to enjoy your life. It's some things that I'm doing for me because I wanted to have more energy. I'm doing for me because I like feeling good every day. I like not having some of the aches and pains I was having. It's amazing how some things have just gone away because I made the changes. I chose to make up my mind to do better this year. And I could kick myself for the things that I didn't, get on top of last year. But there's nothing I can do about the past. But moving forward, I find myself texting my children saying, make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. Make sure you get your checkup. Make sure you're exercising every day. Make sure you're getting your vegetables in. I don't want them to have to go through some of the things that I've gone through. I know what's in my family history. I know what diseases are in my family history. And I rebuke every last one of them. So if I'm going to rebuke them, I'm going to have to be the one that's walking things out and letting people see that their life can be different. I can't fall into the same pattern as everybody else and then try to warn somebody. That's double-minded. That's a contradiction. That's being a hypocrite. I've got to lead by example. And I tend to text my boys and tell them what the doctor says and this is what I'm doing about it, because I want them to see that I have a plan for my life. I don't want them to worry about me. I have a plan for my life. And no, nobody can say how long you're going to live or when you're going to die. But I want it to be known that I gave it my best shot. I did the best that I could do for me. And I tried to take care of myself while I was here. So we need to make up our mind to do the best that we can do and try to appreciate, what God has given us, and try to take care of our temple, because our body is our temple. And when you feel good on the inside, you project it on the outside. So y'all, let's get a handle on our health. Whatever health problems you have, get a handle on it. Quit talking about the same stuff year after year. If you need to check out something to fix this or that, make this your year to get it done. If you need to have surgery, make this your year to have it done. Quit talking about the same stuff over and over and over again, not getting any better, and your quality of life diminishing. Let's do what we got to do to get better, you guys. Okay? And then how are we handling number 9. How are we handling our love life and our love relationships? How are we handling our spouses, you guys? I'm not married right now, but when God sends my man, I'm going to be very careful about how I handle him. Because when God gives you a soulmate, when God gives you a spouse, God has given you a gift. It's up to you how you handle that gift. because he didn't have to send them your way. He didn't have to make them fall in love with you. So don't mishandle them when their heart is open to you. Make sure that you're handling your love relationships, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your family. Don't take for granted, that God has allowed you to have those things. Don't take for granted, family members, and then when they die, you're the first one trying to fall in the casket. Love them while they're here. Take care of your love relationships. Do what you need to do so you have no regrets when people leave. Because everybody's going to leave here, but make sure you've done your part. And then ask yourself, singles, have you unpacked your bags? All the baggage. And even the married ladies, let me go back to that, and married men. Have you unpacked your bags? Or did you bring all of your old mess into your relationship, into your marriage? Are y'all fighting about stuff, demons that you didn't deal with before you got married? Now I'll come back to the singles. Are you unpacking your bags while you're single? That's a good time to unpack your bags. That's a good time to declutter while you're single, while you're not in a relationship. It's just like decluttering your house. When you know God is bringing somebody into your life, you will have a sense that you need to get away from old stuff. You'll get a sense when God is going to bring something new into your life, singles, somebody good into your life, you'll all of a sudden have a desire to clean out some things. You'll have a desire. You'll begin dumping numbers out of your phone. You'll begin blocking people, on your social media, because you don't want that same old mess anymore, because you have a sense, you have a feeling that something better is coming, and you're trying to get stuff out of the way because you're trying to make room. So understand God does that. He will make you declutter when he's trying to bring something good into your life. So when you feel that, understand some things are shifting in your life. So don't fight that feeling. Unpack those bags. Get resolution for those old feelings. If you can't trust nobody, handle that before you get in a relationship with somebody else. If you have a fear of rejection, handle that before you get in a relationship. If you're too clingy, don't get in a relationship clinging to people, because you're asking for disappointment. You need to handle that, unpack that bag, and find out why you are like that while you're single before you bring somebody else in and make them have to try to juggle all your bags. So while you're single, before you get in a relationship, unpack your bags, you guys. I'm unpacking bags right now, y'all, because I feel something in the atmosphere. Something better is coming my way. I got to make room. I'm even decluttering some things at my house. It just seems to all go together. In my spirit, decluttering. In my physical, I'm decluttering, because I'm making room for better things in my life. Okay? And then tough love. Are you guys putting out that tough love where it needs to be, where it comes to those grown kids? Are they still sponging off of you? Are you allowing people to make excuses over and over again for hurting you? We have got to start exhibiting some tough love. Quit letting people get away with everything simply because they know that you love them. It's not fair to you, and you're actually hindering them. So we need to govern and handle our love relationships better. Stop letting people play on your heartstrings, and stop letting them come with these sad stories. Make them figure some things out for themselves. Tell them to handle it. Be like, all right, baby, I heard you. Okay, well, you go handle that and let me know how it turned out. And you have to do that with grown folks, and you have to do that with kids. Let them handle their own baggage. Stop allowing people to dump on you because you have a kind heart. You've got to preserve yourself, okay? And quit letting people hold on to you that really don't want you, ladies and gentlemen, but they don't want anybody else to have you. Don't allow them to do that just because they know that you love them. And they don't feel the same way about you. They don't really want you, but they don't want anybody else to have you. Stop allowing people to control you and keep you in a cage like that. Okay? Number 10, how are you handling your integrity? Your integrity is the person that you are. Are you a person of your word? Are you a person of good moral character? Are you a person that can be respected? Are you a person that does the right thing even when nobody's looking? That's integrity. Okay? Make sure you're a man or a woman of your word. Make sure that you're not compromising yourself just for somebody to love you, because that's false love. If you've got to change who you are for somebody to love you, they really don't love you. They love the idea of you. And I've been there, done that. Had people try to change me simply because they wanted me to be something that I was not. They didn't love me. They just had an image of what they wanted me to be, and they wanted to mold me into that. So don't allow people to manipulate you just by using the word love, because some people use that word simply to control you, and you've got to know the difference. Okay? Look in the Bible about what love is. It'll tell you what love is and what love isn't. Okay? And then integrity is, can you be counted on to be honest and do the right thing? And then number 11, another thing we need to get a handle on is our faith. You know, how are you walking? How are you talking? How are you believing? What is your faith like? You know, what is your faith like? Is it growing? Are you stagnant? Do you need to spend more time with God? Do you believe God can make a way out of no way? Check your faith. Handle your faith. When you're low in faith, find your way to God. Find your way to spend more time with God so that He can increase your faith. He's ready and available. He's just waiting on you. And learn to believe God for things that you can't even see. I'm believing God for some stuff this year. I told God, I need you to blow my mind. And I asked God, I said, God, don't you send nobody else. I'm going to put it like this. I said, God, don't allow anybody else to come into my life that you didn't send. That's what I'm trying to say. I said, God, don't allow a man to come in my life that you didn't send. Don't allow a bunch of friends to come in my life that you didn't send. You know, don't allow money to come into my life that you didn't send. Opportunities that you didn't send. Because everything is not good for you just because it sounds good. So we've got to understand that only God gives perfect gifts. Only He gives good gifts. So make sure that we make Him a part of everything that we do. And make sure that we're making sure He's in the midst of things. Because if He's in it, He's going to work some things out for your good. And then my final thought is, make up your mind to improve how you handle every aspect of your life, from the smallest detail to the biggest project. Only you can decide how productive or successful you will be. So make up your mind and handle your business in 2023. God bless you guys. I love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of the evening and a wonderful week. And let's do it big in 2023, you guys. Love y'all. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.